It is Book Review Sunday, and last week I didn't do an episode because I was a guest on another YouTube channel called Creativity and the Paranormal, which is run by paranormal author S.K. Andrews. So when you finish my episode, head on over to her YouTube channel, Creativity and the Paranormal, to check out my interview with her there. Today, I am going to review an entire series again, like I did a couple weeks ago. This series is also of the novella length, and this one is 4 books instead of 6. So this series falls under a subgenre of the subgenre of fated mates. So this one is about shifters who are in the US military. And I've read a series like this before, and this is the second series like that I have read. And I'm already starting to see some similarities in these shifter military romances. And it's that we have these shifters, characters, who join the US military and use their shifting abilities to help the military do better with their missions and battles and stuff. And then usually get they leave the military at some point, and now the military or the government is trying to take them out so that they cannot spill any military secrets. So let's get introduced to this series, which is called the Wounded Warrior series by Aurelia Skye. And I have already reviewed several of her books in the past. She is a paranormal and science fiction author, a romance author that I enjoy very much, and I will continue to read and review her work on this channel. So, what makes the Wounded Warrior series a little bit different from the other military shifter romance series that I read is that these specific shifters enter the US military pretending to be human, and there is a general or a commander, a higher up, a character who is also a shifter and is basically able to sniff them out. And so he has the idea to create a unit that is 100% shifters, and they can basically do secret missions and special operations and stuff. And so, with that, the few humans who are allowed to know uh, about these shifters and their abilities then come up with the idea to create or test a drug that will make shifters stronger than even a shifter already is. And so they're essentially trying to create super soldiers. And so these shifter soldiers will shift into their animal and do the special mission. And when they shift back, they have no memory of what they did. The only evidence they have is traumatic flashbacks and the fact that their fur and fangs are covered in blood, and they fear that they are being used for dark reasons. And so all of them leave the military one by one. Once they have left the military, the US government, the humans who do know that they exist, have decided that they can no longer live, and they are going to go after these soldiers one by one. So let's start with book number 1, which is Hunted, and it is Wyatt and Jillian's story. Wyatt is our shifter. He turns into a bear, and Jillian is his human mate. Their story is a second chance story. Now, this isn't a second chance mate story, which I covered in my last book review. Second chance mate means your first mate has either rejected you or passed away, and so the deity who creates fated mates gives you a second one. This is in the romance trope of second chance at love, meaning the female character and the male character have a past and they are having a second chance of being a couple. So Wyatt and Jillian have a past. They've been together since they were 13 or 14 years old. And even clear back then, Wyatt had told Jillian, "You are my fated mate," and she got to meet his bear and all of that. Then he goes into the military and goes through all of that trauma that I talked about on the first slide. And he's come back and he fears that Jillian could get hurt from his military past, and so he breaks up with her and disappears for a year and a half. Jillian learns that some of his old military buddies are slowly dying in ridiculous accidents, and she doesn't believe that they are accidents. So she finds him to tell him what's going on, and they are immediately attacked by these new super soldiers that the US government has created using what they learned from what was called Project Shift, which is the military operation that Wyatt and the other original shifters were in. So Wyatt and Jillian's story introduces us to the entire series. This all of that government stuff that I explained in the introduction to the series is in this first book. And Wyatt and Jillian then have to go on the run because the super soldiers are coming for them and they are going to take them out. And they need to find the remaining shifters who have survived and go to a safe house that one of them has created, which I'll get to in a later book. The second book is called Relentless, and this is Devin and Tiana's story. So Devin is our shifter. He turns into a tiger, and Tiana is our human, and she is kind of a journalist, but she's a self-appointed journalist, but she's more of a computer hacker. And so she has discovered that something's going on in the military and she's investigating it, and she comes across Project Shift. And one of the shifters, she figures out his name and location and goes to him. And this is all before Relentless even begins. This is backstory. And she is in the middle of talking with him when they are attacked by these super soldiers, and he dies protecting Tiana. Devin then comes in to find his friend dead and this random human woman hiding in the basement. And Tiana and Devin experience love at first sight, and they're going to partner up to find the remaining shifters who need to be found and brought to the safe house. And Tiana is going to use her computer hacking abilities to find them, and she's going to end up being recruited by these shifters who have basically gone rogue and created their own soldier group to protect themselves. So they're going to recruit her to help them continue to protect themselves and to find the missing soldiers. And each of these books is going to have what I call a rescue climax, where someone has been caught by the government. They're in a type of prison, and everyone else who hasn't been caught needs to go rescue them. And it's not the human who gets captured each time. So that was a fun difference. The third book in the series is called Marked, and it is Lex and Aiden's story. Lex, as a main character, is our only female shifter, but there are some side characters who are also female shifters. And she can shift into a coyote. And what we learn in her story is that coyotes don't have fated mates the way that bears and tigers and other larger animal shifters do. And so coyotes get to choose their mate. And Lex is kidnapped by the boss of the government agency that is chasing them. And he has used his scientists to kind of create a serum that can turn a regular human into a shifter. But they aren't a true shifter. So he shifts into a polar bear, but it's not a full polar bear. There's clearly still human characteristics to it, and he smells different. He smells bad to a traditional shifter. But these abomination shifters is what they call them. still apparently get a fated mate because he claims that Lex is his fated mate, so he kidnaps her. He's not going to kill her like he wants to kill the other regular shifters. He wants to force her to be his mate. So while she is his prisoner, she meets Aiden and is going to slowly fall for him, and Aiden is going to help her escape, which was another nice difference. So we get these male shifters, human female counterparts, and then we just get a completely different story for this third book, and it was really great. And our fourth and final book, which is going to be our finale for the series, is called Justice, and it is Malcolm and Daphne's story. So we're going back to a male shifter and a female human. Malcolm shifts into a jaguar, and Daphne is a uh, neurologist, and she's actually kind of a prodigy. She is a genius in her field. She is younger than she finished. She went to college. She finished high school early, went to college early, and as a 25-year-old, she is very, very far into her medical career. And so Malcolm wants to use Daphne's medical expertise to try to heal one of their shifter soldiers who they uh, rescued in an earlier book and is basically in some type of coma because the government messed with her brain too much. And so Malcolm kidnaps Daphne, um, and she fights it at first, but she's already attracted to him and he's attracted to her, and they about halfway through the story accepts their attraction for each other and that they want to be a couple when the dust settles, but they have to finish this final mission before they can be a real couple, according to Malcolm, because he says, if I truly make you my mate by marking you, then if I die in these final battles, it will be too painful for you. So that's an issue they have to overcome. And we also have a new big bad boss because the guy who kidnapped Lex in the previous book is quickly overcome by them in the beginning of this book, and they learn that there is one more person above him that they need to take out. And by bringing Daphne on board, their focus changes from wiping out these new super soldiers, but trying to heal them. Because these were all once humans. Some of them were in the military and didn't fully understand what they were volunteering for. And they're going to learn as they heal them that some of them were just regular humans who were kidnapped off the street, or civilians. They're all humans, but some of them were just civilians that were kidnapped off the street. So they need to heal them instead of just killing them. Overall, the series gets 4.5 stars from me. I enjoyed that each couple's meet cute is completely different. And because something I have noticed in some romance series, like if it's within the same series or even within the same genre but different authors, the way fated mate couples meet tends to be very similar and robotic and pattern, and you just see the same thing over and over. And I liked seeing different things from, they have a past and they're meeting up again. This one's getting rescued. This one's getting kidnapped, stuff like that. So that was nice. And I really, really enjoy shifter stories where we go beyond the traditional werewolf. So we have a bear, we have a tiger, a coyote, and a jaguar. And like the Daz and Agenda series that I reviewed a few weeks ago, this one has this larger military plot that continues from book to book as we change couples. So this is another um, romance series where you do want to read them in order. Some romance series you don't need to read in order because there isn't a larger plot. It's just, oh, it's this couple's story. Now it's this couple's story. This one, the larger plot is heavily connected. You need to read these books in order. And the heat level for the intimacy scenes is spicy or four flames. Let me get this. There we go. So, if you like Fated Mate, Shifters, military, and romance, check out the Wounded Warrior series by Aurelia Skye. Also, just in general, check out anything by Aurelia Skye. I really like her as a romance author. She does both paranormal and science fiction, and she just writes great love stories and great couples. If you've read anything by her, let me know in the comments and let me know what you think of her books. If you have any book recommendations that fall under the similar genre, also let me know in the comments. Click that subscribe button, and I will see you next Sunday.